season, we saw two sides to Arsenal's game, did we not, Ian? Dominant first and backs to the wall in some respects.
Yeah, look, I think second half, it's fair to say, it's a bit back to the wall, but I thought work was done in the first half. It was a little bit worrying to see it drop off a little bit in the second half. You know, I don't know if it's nerves or what it could have been, but I think Wolves maybe just got a little bit more initiative about them, tried to go at us and put us under pressure. And you saw there at the death there, you know, to put us under pressure in the box, and Zinchenko doesn't quite clear his lines, and that was enough to give us that little bit of a problem towards the end of the game.
What happened to Arsenal in that second half? Were they a bit sloppy for you?
No, I think when you're comfortable, because that's how it seemed, you know, until the latter stages of the game, you just feel like you can knock the ball around. You don't need to go in search of that third goal, so the tempo just drops a bit because you feel in control of the game. And if you see the game out at that point, then it's absolutely no problem. The moment you concede, yes, there was a lapse in concentration from Zinchenko. The moment you concede, it's so difficult to then get your speed back up and to get the pace of the play that they had in the first half back up to the tempo. Yeah. And Wolves nearly took advantage of that.
6 minutes in, it was the perfect start, right? I mean, we saw Arsenal firing on all cylinders in midweek, and it felt like it was going to be one of those afternoons at the Emirates again.
Yeah, it was. They started brilliantly. Like I say, I thought Wolves in the start of this half, just 5-6 minutes in, and you know, they were tight there. I think they were very unlucky. You know, it was good skill from Arsenal, and that's what they've done. There's the luck there with Dawson, and then bam, you get the goal, and then that's when you start to cruise. Perfect start.
Yeah, brilliant. The speed of their attacks. We thought the fact that, I mean, you see the back five of Wolves there and the midfield three, you thought that they'd be able to just nullify Arsenal in the early part of the game. But if you've got really clever players and you've got real quality, they can find those moments, they can find those gaps. And that was Xhaka and Jesus primarily, just linking up in those tight areas. I mean, Wolves have got 5v2 pretty much in those areas, but they can manipulate the ball so well that they'll create opportunities in the penalty area.
Saka's having one of those seasons where you're expecting almost a goal or an assist from him most games.
That's the levels he's got to now. He is a goal or an assist, and what it is again, when it gets tight in the game, he is somebody that can, in the moment, you know, you might be able to mark him for a while, but then if he gets that moment, he's now got the quality and the awareness of picking that player out, and that's what he does. He's either scoring or he's picking someone out.
With the experience he's gained now, I mean, he's still, what, 22
22
years of age, and wow, I mean, with the experience he's got, he's now making the correct decision 9 times out of 10, which is crucial. Yeah. Everybody comes through with ability. It's what you can manage to do with it. His decision-making is fantastic, and that's why you see an end product in the crucial moments. Yeah. He's making the right decisions.
How impressed were you with Arsenal's second goal?
Well, it was brilliant. It was a brilliant team goal. You know, using the whole pitch, stretching a back five, you know, of that Wolves offered, then they just literally couldn't cope. The midfield three of Wolves was stretched, and they just, you know, the speed and tempo, that pass, that play, the running off the ball, the knowing instinctively where your teammate's going to be. It's great to see.
It's beautiful. It's because once this ball goes in, you can see the three midfielders, and none of them are really doing anything. They're not really picking anyone up. But this is where it gets quick. Bang, bang. This is the quality. This is how you move teams around. And then if people ain't tight enough, they'll punish them. And that is what Arsenal can do.
Yeah, he couldn't have put his hand up any higher there, Odegaard.
Trying out.
A real stretch. He knew he was in space, and he knew he was in the perfect position.
That wasn't an easy finish as well. It bobbed into him a bit. He's such a quality player. He's going to deal with that, no problem.
Yeah. Do you think he's turned a corner a little bit in the last few games, Odegaard?
No, I think that what's happened is that teams are rightly targeting him because of how good he is for us, how integral he is to everything what we're doing, passing through the lines, you know, and keeping it moving for us. And teams are making sure that they're getting someone close to him or doubling up on him, because what he's shown, and he's shown it recently, is if he's got time and space, he will hurt you.
Yeah. In the second half, Wolves did change their shape. They went from a back five to a back four on the hour mark. They seemed a lot more dangerous as a result. And, of course, there was suddenly some jeopardy in this, as far as Arsenal were concerned, when Cunha made it 2-1 on 86 minutes.
Yeah, it's just a bit of pressure. I mean, it came really late in the game, but they just didn't give up. I mean, as you said, that getting men forward, and the moment that Zinchenko took that touch, Wolves felt there was an opportunity there. Semedo came in, they got players round. Look, here you go, bang, Semedo's in. Suddenly the ball fell to the perfect person. far as Wolves are concerned in that area. Just let it run across his body and hit it brilliantly, didn't he?
Yeah, it was a good finish. You have to give him that. I think the worry was seeing Arsenal just dropping deeper and deeper. Don't know if it's anything to do with the substitution and Ødegaard going off, but we did feel like we dropped a bit deeper, lost a little bit of control. That's where Wolves kind of pushed up on us, and that's when they forced a mistake.
Let's go to the two other games that have also finished in the Premier League. To Arsenal's 2-1 win over Wolves. Let's get the post-match thoughts of Martin Ødegaard, who is their club captain.
Martin, congratulations for the win. It was a dominant performance for most of the match, but why do you feel in these final moments of the game that Wolves might have scored a second, might have picked up a point here?
To be honest, in the end, when they scored the first one, it's always a bit, what can I say, always a bit nervous for the second, but I think we did well after the goal. As you say, I think we controlled everything most of the game, but of course we let them into the game with the goal, so that's a bit frustrating, but in the end it's a win and a well-deserved one, so we have to take that and move on to the next.
Two really nice goals from Arsenal, a really nice goal from you, a nice team goal as well. So how do you feel about it?
Yeah, it was really good. I think the build-up to the goal was amazing, and the pass from Sinna was perfect, and yeah, I just have to be in the right areas and then put it in the goal there, so but it was a beautiful one from the whole team.
And the best way to start December, because there's so many games to come, right?
Yes, and it's one of those periods in the calendar where you really want to try and get some wins under your belt, because it can give you a massive boost. You can like amass a load of points in such a short space of time. But like for Arsenal, I'm sure City are the same, and anybody who's trying to go for the title, Liverpool, you have to win these games, especially the home games. So yes, of course it was a little bit nervy at the end, but the main thing is that they won it.
Okay. And so from a big game at the top of the table. Welcome back. So we're at half-time at the Emirates, and Arsenal, as you can see, are leading Wolves by 2-0 and it means, as things stand, the Gunners are going 4 points clear at the top of the table. They scored 2 goals of real quality. The first from Saka after just 2 minutes, when Arsenal had no real right to score from this position.
Well, no, because me and Liam was talking about it. I think Wolves are in a good position. They've doubled up on him, but this is where he gets the bit of luck here. Is the players congregate around the ball, then that is it there again. You get a little bit of luck with Dawson not quite getting the challenge in, but like in the end, they still probing, they're still doing what they're doing, and then they get a bit of luck. But Wolves ain't done too much wrong there for me.
No, I mean, if you're Bellegarde and you're in that position, it's your job to make sure the ball doesn't go in between. But I think I was doing a good job if I was in, but it's just absolutely pure quality from Bukayo Saka. Yes, he got that little bit of luck at the end, but the quality he showed at the beginning, and then what Jesus did as well in the build-up, they deserved that little bit of luck. And what this goal did, after a good finish, it changed the game. It changed how both teams had to go about the game from that point, because Arsenal got their early lead. They no longer needed to chase the game.
What a season that 22-year-old is having for Arsenal. It just gets better and better. And then for 2-0, as team goals go, Ian, they don't get much better than this.
No, but this is, like I say, with Arsenal, here, the cross, it's a very good cross, but that's it. There's Zinchenko speeding it up there with the quality, and then you see Ødegaard on the edge there, but like we could see from this angle, Leon, that Wolves could have done a little bit better in this instant.
Yeah, they could, but the fact that Saka goes to the byline there, once those Wolves defenders are all facing their own goal, they're in trouble, and then Wolves are defending with a back five and then a midfield three, and I've highlighted the midfield three because they just can't cover the distances. They can't cover the ground to get to the Arsenal players. Ødegaard ends up completely unmarked. Ødegaard's got to do better than that, but the fact that Arsenal went with that pullback, I know they do it quite often, but it's knowing where your opposition are weak. And in that midfield area, that pullback area, Wolves are weak, and Arsenal took great advantage of it.
Arsenal have been so impressive. As commentator Joe Spate mentioned, he described the fact that they were purring at points in that first half. They came within whiskers of getting a third through Gabriel Martinelli.
Yeah, it was good play. It's been very dangerous. I think Saka and Martinelli have been very dangerous, and that's his favourite. He cuts in onto his right foot there, just trying to bend it in the far post. It just hits the post. But it's really good play. Arsenal, they're stretching them, they're being patient, and when they can stretch, they're getting the balls to them very quickly, Martinelli and Saka, and they're causing problems for Wolves.
Yeah, but with that 2-goal advantage, they have sat back a little bit of Arsenal, and there has been this warning sign from Wolves late on.
Yeah, and it nearly came from, a Zinchenko misplaced pass. Hwang just couldn't get to it. It's been a It's been a very entertaining first half. Arsenal have been very good. Wrighty's been very entertaining in his support. But the moment you lose concentration there, just for a moment, Premier League, they may be teams that can punish you. Wolves will feel that there's a half possibility, half a chance. But, yeah, good goalkeeping there.
Yeah, tough first half for Wolves. Who've had to substitute their goalkeeper, Jose Sarr. But there's no doubt Arsenal appear to have regained their swagger after that big win in Europe in midweek. Let's go elsewhere then. First to Turf Moor.
So far today, Arsenal 2 up against Wolves in our first feature game of the afternoon. Brentford and Luton are yet to find a goal between them, and Burnley lead against Sheffield United 2-0. We're at Forest for our second feature game. They play Everton today. 1 win in 9 it is for Forest at the moment. And then it's Newcastle United against Manchester United in the northeast. That one starts at 2300 Mecca. The reason for the late kick-off is European commitments this past week. And Manchester United have had a torrid
terrible
getting to Newcastle.
I feel for them.
Their plane was cancelled and they've had to go in a coach.
I feel for them.
I mean, what next? Really?
That's shocking. Should cancel the game, give them a chance to recover.
Well, it certainly should have been considered, Andy.
But this was a brilliant start from Arsenal. They've struggled to get early goals this season, but this was they got a little bit of luck. I mean, I think Craig Dawson's a terrific defender as a defender, but he'll be a little disappointed. He was as flimsy as he was when Bukayo Saka went past him there. He gets a bit lucky. Not this part. First part's lovely. We just feed the ball around. That's all very nice, but that part there, just there, Dawson just goes in. That's not Craig Dawson defending properly. All a little bit too light for me. And it was always going to be tough for Wolves after that. This is a goal of genuine quality. Genuine quality. What it shows you, Richard, if you can move the ball one touch, it's almost impossible to defend it. And they move it one touch right at the end. I think 3 or 4 passes.
Do you think Arsenal need a centre forward that scores goals, or in Jesus do they have someone that is contributing enormously by what he aids others to do around and about?
He contributes enormously. I think if they're going to suffer this year, I think it'll be because of that. What you've said, they don't have a genuine goal-scoring centre forward.
In recent years, Andy, I think about teams that have been successful. They haven't necessarily always had a traditional 9, or have they?
What, Aguero?
Well, yeah.
I know Liverpool would be the exception. They won it. Firmino would not be a 9, a false 9. I know what you mean. I do think that if I was... Arsenal were pretty strong everywhere, Richard. They're well covered in every position, right? But at that end of the pitch, you know, is Eddie Nketiah going to be good enough if he has to play 25 games, 20 games? I don't know.
Well, it depends what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You know, a 9 will see a team channeling virtually everything to and through him. I mean, I look at it. The reason I ask, I suppose, is I was reading an article from Jesus this week who's saying, look, you know, I'm as good as anybody.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get you a hatful of goals, but I'm going to make you probably a hatful.
Listen, that's his. What would his contribution be at the end of the season? Haaland will probably get 40 goals and have about 10 assists. Now, if Jesus has 25 assists and 15 goals, that's a fairly good return.
Yeah, goal involvement, we call it.
Goal involvement, yeah. Well, so that's what he could do, yes. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Jesus is not, and neither is Eddie Nketiah, I don't think, from what I've seen so far. They're not going to get you 25 to 30 goals a season at Arsenal. So they depend on Martinelli, Saka, Gabriel Jesus, Odegaard in midfield, particularly those 4. They depend on those 4 footballers winning them football matches pretty much every week.
And the numbers here are actually quite interesting. So goals 27, ranked in the Premier League of the 20 clubs, 6th. They were 2nd at this stage last season. Expected goals, if you have a look, 7th there in the rankings. They were 5th in the last campaign. So that puts, I suppose, that evident forward that they're not quite firing as much as we've seen in recent times. But there's a level of maturity maybe perhaps about the way they go about their business.
Yeah, I mean, look, Arsenal have got match winners in the team. We've seen that. They've got people that can produce a moment of real quality to win any game. Now, it's much easier to do that when it's 0-0 or it's 1-1 rather than you've left yourselves a bit exposed, as we were talking earlier. Ian was saying that if Arsenal find themselves behind by going for it too early in the games and then suddenly you're having to chase the games, that's much more difficult to break teams down when they're set in those positions than it is if you're at 0-0, because you've just played from a bit more of a secure position. You've watched the game develop And then as the game then does develop, you ask your players to go and produce moments of quality. And that's got to be easier. It won't look as good on the stats. We're seeing that. It'll mean they're a little bit more defensive, not as potent in the final third. But it will certainly help them make another huge step to try and win that title.
The problem was that conceding, like I say, early in games. And Arsenal, you know, last season, I think it was 14 times they scored in the first 15 minutes. I think the only time they've done this season is against Bournemouth, and we beat them 4-0, and then we saw it again in the Champions League. You know, he scored early, and we beat the teams 4-0 and 6-4. We scored 4 and 6 respectively. And this is why teams now, Manish, know that you have to keep the pressure on. And Arsenal know we have to defend as well as we are, because if it's going to take a 1-0er, then we'll have to take that until we get time to actually play.
Yeah. After that potent showing in midweek against Lens, and you talked about that front five playing for the first time together this season. So how surprised are you that it's Trossard who gets the nod ahead of an informed Kai Havertz?
Well, yeah, I think that with Mikel, you know, what Trossard gives you in respect of going backwards, forwards, the progression of the ball, getting in the box, of course, he's further on in his development in respect of confidence and his progression in the team.
Is that, again, the level of control he's trying to bring to these league games?
Probably, yeah, because I do believe that with Kai Havertz and the way he does crash the box, at some stage, once he does get himself really going in this team, then it's going to be a real tussle between him and Trossard. But at the moment, I have no problem with Trossard, because we've seen what he is 7, 8 out of 10 every week. That's what he's going to give you, and this is what we're probably going to need out of Kai Havertz. But that, for me, is still a brilliant player to be coming in at this stage.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they offer slightly different things, and having worked with Mikel, he's such an intelligent person, manager, that he'll be identifying what he's got within his squad, what Trossard can offer, what Kai Havertz can offer, and who they're coming up against. Who does he think will hurt Wolves more today? Who'll be able to play in certain areas? Who'll be able to drift into spaces? Trossard's got the nod. It's close because they're both quality players, and that's the kind of squad that he's developing there.
Arteta basically confirming what you said earlier, which is why Trossard's in ahead of Havertz. Yeah. He's not getting carried away by what Havertz brought with that front five in midweek. He wants to take each game as it comes, so to speak.
Yeah, and he knows he's got that up the sleeve, you know, especially with Havertz now, with confidence, scored in his last couple of games. But I think Trossard gives him, like we said, a little bit more control in a game where we're going to need to control. We're going to need to make sure that we are trying to break him down, especially over that side there, over that left side where he'd probably be with Martinelli. And it just gives us that little bit more stability, that Kai's maybe not at that level yet in respects of the trust that Mikel will have in him at the moment, but he's getting there. But this is why Trossard coming in is amazing, brilliant for us.
Managers know as well these days that you don't win things, you don't win titles especially, and if you're competing in European football with 11 players, it's a squad game. You have to have them all competing and playing well at certain times. Kai Havertz has done really well in the last few weeks, got himself back up, but he wants Trossard playing well. He'll want other people coming off the bench, playing well at certain times. So it's all about balance, and just as long as he's given enough to make sure his team win games, that's important. But he'll want to make sure he's using his whole squad and that everybody's involved. 1-0
to the Arsenal is like I said, I'm saying to people...
I grew up on that. So you're going to break out into a song for
George Graham, you know, he built the defence, built the team on defence, and that's where we've gone back to that now. And like I say, if people are not, if they're not doing that deep block and get it wrong, we don't need many chances. You can't let Saka, like we showed earlier, cut in and put the ball in the box, because we'll punish you.
Yeah.
It's the margins now.
And because of those two key changes in the middle of the park for Wolves, with those two players suspended, do you think that actually makes this a trickier fixture for Arsenal?
Maybe simply because we might not know as much about them, but I say that flippantly, but the fact is they'll know about them, but will they be able to come in this kind of atmosphere of the game and perform to the levels that Gary O'Neill will want? And like we heard Gary O'Neill saying that he's got no problems with them coming in, he feels that they can deal with it, but then we will see today.
Yeah, and we know the improvement, as we've already spoken about, what Gary O'Neill has brought to Wolves. Do you expect this to be a tight affair?
Yeah, as we've spoken about how competitive they are. My worry for that is the players he brought in aren't as defensively minded as the players that are missing out suspended today, that they're not able to sit in and do that defensive role. So it could actually make for a better game. You know, Bellegarde is one who just gets his shoulder down, bursts forward, breaks forward from those positions. I'm not sure he'll be able to do that defensive role. So maybe Gary O'Neill's team talk, maybe his messages have to be a bit different today. We may have to actually try and make this a more competitive game, a bit of a basketball game at times, which will certainly play into Arsenal's hands, and it'll be much better on the eye for the viewer.
That'd be a big mistake, I think, if he does that. I think that, again, like I say, I mentioned Arsenal before, conceding early goals. This is something they've really clamped down on. Now they will be patient, and if Wolves do come on, like we've seen in the last couple of games, they will be punished, and that's what Arsenal will be waiting for. So I'm sure it will be a defensive low block, and that's where Arsenal have had problems breaking that down, but they're showing patience. That's the main thing.
Here in North London, I'm Derek Ray here in the commentary position, and joining me will be Lee Dixon. And it's all about action from the Premier League in this case. It's Arsenal versus Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Yeah, thanks, Derek. Both teams will no doubt be looking for a quick start. So important to get focus from the off. Really looking forward to this. Hopefully it won't disappoint.
And he's broken free. A very timely interception. And he might be through here. He's in with a chance. In it goes! An early opening statement in this match. And look at the celebrations.
Well, here's the replay. It's a very neat piece of deception to get past the defender. And then it just gets better and better from there. Superb. Softly passing the volley into the net. Lovely goal.
On they go again, and Arsenal know they need to wipe out that last goal. Martin Ødegaard. It's with Ødegaard. Lacazette here. Well, let's see about the cross.
Didn't have any.
Wolves might be able to cash in from here. Moutinho. In possession, Adama. Well, the flag has gone up. It was really close. Xhaka. Martin Ødegaard. Now Lacazette. Good work from Wolves to win back possession. Well, he could really get at the opposition. Masterful piece of foiling. Arsenal have given it away. Well, a clear foul, but the referee letting the play flow. Ruben Neves. Nelson Semedo has it. Adama. Play having stopped. A chance for the referee to go back and hand out the caution. Promising sequence. It might be. And a penalty awarded. Spot kick coming up. And the offence sufficiently sinister to warrant a yellow card.
Yes, agree with that one, Derek. He's got to be careful now.
And he's got total